Hey people, Frank's in here. Back working on the motor. As you can see, I got the crank all the way in there. Next step is putting in the pistons. One or two things I want to button up first before I get to that. But basically just putting in the pistons. Got to clean them up. Take the rings off, clean the ring landings, and put them together, stab them in. Okay, let's get to work. Right now I'm working on the back cam plate. That cam plate covers the hole for, I guess, putting in the bearings. It bolts in. It's not like a freeze plug fitting or a freeze plug cap that you hammer in. Some engines have them like that, but not this one. It bolts in. Takes a cork gasket, and I have the gasket hanging on a rod, and you'll see why. Okay, this is the engine paint I chose. It's going to be red. Engine block's going to be red. I'm going to repaint it. It was white. When I get it all together, I'm going to tape it up and then clean off the old paint and then repaint it. But I painted the cam plate. Now I'm going to paint the gasket. I don't know if anybody knew, but paint is an excellent sealant. It's also a form of Loctite too, in case you guys haven't noticed. The wife's painting the windows shut on the house. How you do it is you just put a light coat on there. Let the paint flash, get sticky, and then you put the part together. Okay, we'll be back when I put it together. Okay, I painted the cork gasket. Normally, you wouldn't put any kind of sealant on cork. It's a pretty good sealant in itself. But this is in the spot behind the motor that's covered by the transmission, and I'll never get to it again, so I want to make sure this thing is sealed. So I painted the gasket. The theory behind using paint as a sealant is when it dries completely, it bonds the two parts. How you do it is you paint the gasket, you let the paint flash. When the paint flashes, that means all the solvents is evaporated and it's only the paint. Now the paint is what's going to seal it. It's pretty much dry. It's still gooey. You can leave an imprint in it. That's when you want to put it together. So I'm going to piece this together. I got this all prepped up. I filed it down. I put these tabs over to reset the seal surface. You want this touching, and then when you tighten the bolts down, the bolts actually bend these tabs over a little bit to create pressure on the plate onto the gasket. So these are reset and ready to go. Okay, I got the cam plate installed using the paint as a sealant on the cork gasket. I've done this many times before. That thing will never leak. And when I go and pull that off on the next rebuild, I'm going to have to rip it off. Trust me. Okay, onto the pistons. Okay, I've been cleaning up the pistons, and evidently it's a skill you forget. You have to relearn it to show it. So that's what I've been doing. I did the first 5. I'm in the 6th one. I'll show you how to do it. I'll walk through the paces and show you everything I did to it to get it to this point. Looks pretty good. Came out pretty clean. You could see all the burnt carbon is off of it, and piston's nice and clean except for a few spots I had to scrape off. But other than that, it came out pretty clean. Okay, here we go. Okay, this piston's pretty much been pulled right out of the motor and then just set aside, so everything is pretty much untouched. I grab it, I want to look at it, I want to check the rings, make sure the rings, all the rings have expanded past the diameter of the piston. That shows that the rings got tension on it and it's working properly. So they do spin. And how you get the piston ring off without breaking it, I'm going to be reusing the piston rings. Set of rings is about $100, so I'm going to reuse these. There's actually nothing wrong with them except for they're worn. They have probably a gap, a piston ring gap, more than what you need, but they do seal the engine because I know the engine was a running engine. So I'll show you how to take them off. Where the opening is, 90 degrees, you push it over, grab the opening, and you pull it over the top. How it gradually goes back into the slot, that's where you just push it over to the side and it comes right out. Second one, you do it the same way. Push it over, grab the ring. You're just moving it enough to clear the piston. You don't want to overstretch it or it will break. You don't want to take it up the slot and then out. You want to take it completely off. So you got it hanging inward, then you just push that way and it comes out of the groove without bending it too much. Comes off. Oil control rings, you do the same way. Bend it up so it's over and then just spin it off. The bottom one you think would be the hardest, but it's just as easy as the first one. Over the top. Twist it off, and then the oil control ring. Find the opening, there it is, same way. Okay, I got them off without breaking any of them. So next step is pulling the cap off and pulling the bearing out. Pull it off easy. Comes right off. You don't want to force it, and you just, where the little notch is, you go to the other end and you push it. You want to slide it out. The reason for that is because there's oil behind it and it wants to keep it sucked to the cap. You start pulling on it, it's going to bend something. Same thing with the rod. Here's the notch, so I'm pushing on the opposite end. It comes right out. Okay, you look at the piston, make sure you don't have any damage. This engine, the reason why I tore it apart is because the timing chain jumped 2 teeth. The valves was smacking the pistons, and there's the imprint. The valve was leaving. To fix that, I'm going to reuse the pistons, of course, to fix it. File it flat. Okay, the deburring continues. I'm going to take rat tail file and I'm going to chamfer the edges of the piston ring slots. You want to do all the deburring before you clean the piston. Nothing to do. You're not doing too drastic of a chamfer, just so when you have the rain going into it, it guides it in. A couple swipes is good enough. So I'm going to chamfer this edge right here just a little bit, and this edge right here. I'm going to also do the same thing with the cap. Flat file. That's all you need to do. Nothing drastic. I'm looking at piston ring grooves, seeing how much carbon is in there. There's not that much, just enough behind it, which is normal. That carbon seals the rings. Go all the way around on that one. Not too much. Do the other one too. Okay, time to clean it. Okay, here's what I'm cleaning them with. That's how they came out so clean. This stuff works great, and you just wash it off with water. The cheaper the better. Don't want to get this stuff on you. It does burn, it's in the caustic. Let it soak. Be doing other stuff while it's soaking. Yeah, and just enough to do 6 pistons. Okay, I don't know where I left off. It's been a couple days. I've had oven cleaner on here and it dried on there, which is okay. One good thing about oven cleaner, it just keeps working. So it's been sitting on there for a couple days, and I'm gonna give it one more scrubbing and it should be clean. So, I already did the cap. The cap's kind of gooey. But yeah, if you can see the cap, there it is. I'll clean this real quick and spray it off. You see how dirty it is. Clean. See if I get a close up of what I'm scraping out of here. Doing the oil ring now. There's a bunch of debris or carbon in it. Just scrape it out. It's up in the corner. Next part is putting the rings back on. I forgot to clean that. Get the idea. Here's the opening. Face there. That goes up.